Hey, you're in the mix with a vibrant mix with Tasha, Tamiko, and Fred from TLC Talk Radio Studios, and we have a great show lined up for you today. We always will talk about headlines, and we're going to talk about homeschooling. Homeschooling is pretty fascinating to me. I don't have any children, but if I have some, that's probably going to be for me. We're missing our girl Tamiko. I'm a little hurt by that. No, I'm kidding. I know she has something that she had to take care of, so she wasn't able to be here tonight. But Fred is here. Yeah, it's like you all flip-flop. You're like, you can't.
Right, we can't get it together.
We can't get it together.
Get it quite right.
That's, for you, that means a variety of things.
Right.
So we hung out with you this weekend for your lovely fiance's birthday.
Yeah,
that's your response to everything?
Yeah.
So
but now that I have a fiance, that's my response to everything.
Oh, well, smart man you are.
Yeah.
So whatever she says, just that's how it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's different than the by who was the guy? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, whatever.
How you doing?
I'm well. Like, no complaints. I'm really busy, but it's a good busy. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We're just doing what we do.
Hey, that's all good.
Yeah. So what's new with you? How are the wedding plans going and all that fun stuff?
Wedding plans are going great. I just don't have any money.
That means it's going very well. That means you're paying for things and nobody's going to be upset in November.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on my taxes from the the sadistic cartoon character? Is that?
Cartoon lunatic, as per local sportscaster Mark Giangreco.
He hasn't given me my money yet.
I don't know that he personally controls the money, though. I think you might be a little off base with that.
He's in charge, so
I mean,
you gotta blame somebody.
I
mean, the past 8 years, I never had troubles getting my money.
Oh boy!
So I'm just saying.
That's how you feel?
That's how I feel.
I probably need to file my taxes. I probably need to do that. And shout out to Desmond Taylor, my accountant.
Yeah. I have down payments to hit.
I bet you do.
Yes, sir.
How large is your wedding?
It is 450 people at the reception.
Yikes.
There'll be more people at the church for the wedding. I can't fit everybody in the reception.
You're fitting 450 people in one spot?
Yes.
Are we having it at the Taste of Chicago?
No, that wasn't big enough.
Oh.
And that was the biggest venue we could find.
Okay.
For the money.
Makes sense.
So
large families then.
Large families.
Lots of friends.
It's more family than friends coming. And that's the crazy part. It's like a lot of people that you're halfway close to won't be able to come to the reception, but they'll be able to come to the wedding. So, at least they'll get that part.
Have you gotten some negative reaction to that?
Well,
I don't think you
care.
I haven't.
Much. I don't care, but I've gotten I better get a response. I better get an invitation, and it's like, okay, the last time we talked was never before the point you asking should you get an invitation. So
that they're probably going to stick.
Right.
So that happened to me.
Yeah.
People were demanding stuff.
Yeah.
And for some relatives, I went on and rolled with it, and then they didn't show.
Mm-hmm. And the crazy part is even with the 450 people, part of our wedding party is 38 people.
Okay,
so that
what's happening?
Yes, 38 people in the wedding party. That's not my call.
No, it's
and
not.
So that has to be factored into the 450.
That's larger than the staff where I work.
Yeah. So that has to be factored into the 450, plus everybody who's helping, with food and the DJs. Everybody the 450 has to embody everybody in that room. So, that leaves us with about, say, 400, guests. So you split that 200, on either side. Mm-hmm. Now, with everybody with a plus one, that's technically 100 people.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. So it
sounds crazy.
It's crazy. And
I mean,
doing the list, I did about 8 lists trying to figure out who, which, where, and you don't realize how big your family is.
Until
It's like when you move, you don't realize how much stuff you got until you move. You don't realize how big your family is, so you're like, okay, I got this cousin, so now I got to invite this cousin, so I got this cousin. This cousin has 4 kids. This cousin, that kind of stuff. So, that's crazy.
That's why I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean, if the man I marry wants a large wedding, we can do that.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
No?
Not too many men want the wedding.
Okay.
I think that's more of a woman thing. I think growing up, it's more of a lady thing. It's like, you want the everything, the Cinderella dress and all of that stuff, the long veil and,
Yeah, I'm still trying to sell my wedding dress. I'm just saying.
All eyes on you coming down the aisle and all of that kind of stuff, everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
And I think usually, like you said, you've done that.
Yeah, I've done that.
So once you've done it, it's like, okay, I don't need to do it no more. I can, get married.
But I wouldn't be opposed to it, is what I'm saying. So if that's what he wanted, then yay, I'll do it. But we're probably going to wear jeans.
Right.
I can't.
I know with my bride, she's never been married.
Right.
So this is what she's been looking forward to.
That's very sweet.
So my job is to make sure she gets it.
Yeah.
And keep a smile on her face that whole day. That's my job.
And what's that one word you say?
Yeah.
That. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
So a lot happening in the news. We said a few weeks ago or a few months, it's been a few weeks now, that when President Trump was elected, we would not have to do a lot of searching for news. For news.
Or things to talk about.
Things to talk about. There would be something for every week. And I mentioned that we'll be talking about headlines as we always do, but we also have Aja, you see her on the phone with us, and she's going to talk about homeschooling. But Aja, you're not limited to talk about homeschooling. Feel free to join in the conversation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yay, I get to talk about Trump. Awesome.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. So today, the most significant happening, not the most significant because I don't want to discount anything, but one of these significant happenings was that the White House excluded several news outlets from a press gaggle, and this is according to CNN and NBC News. And so it was not your formal in front of camera news briefing, but it was a briefing nonetheless. And those news outlets that were barred were CNN, the New York Times, the LA Times, and Politico. And when I read it, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I cracked up laughing. Not because it's funny, not because it was appropriate, not because it's a joke, but I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
So everybody knows I work at a media school, and we promptly, wanted to make sure that we alerted our students, hey, this is how it's going. You're in school at a time that things are very, very different. And so, again, the briefing was off camera. NBC was allowed to go into the briefing, and those who were there, of course, it was a pool, so they decided, of course, we're going to share information with all of the journalists, which is, normal protocol, but people were alarmed, people were amazed. CNN's public relations wing tweeted that this move was, quote, an unacceptable development by the Trump White House.
Wow.
So the mantra the whole time has been, the news is unfair. It's not good for the people. This is from the President Trump camp. And so I just wonder why, I don't think they care that this was going to go unchallenged. But when you have Fox News questioning, you making a statement like that, just wow. So a lot of news advocacy groups called the exclusion of these outlets alarming. And this was from the Committee to Protect Journalists, Executive Director Joel Simon. He said, quote, President Trump's calls for an end to anonymous sources was alarming. It is not the job of political leaders to determine how journalists should conduct their work, and sets a terrible example for the rest of the world, where sources, often must remain anonymous to preserve their own lives. So literally, it could be a situation of life and death. I need to get this out, but Lord, if I'm revealed as a source, I could be murdered.
Right.
Thoughts?
it's crazy how, and I'm sure in the media, even though they're in competition with each other, a lot of the times, it's still like a fraternity or a sorority.
Okay.
Where they respect each other's work.
Absolutely.
Even they said the Associated Press and Time boycotted it.
Yeah,
even
they
though
decided
were allowed,
they weren't going.
They weren't going. And like you said, some people in Fox News, I may not agree with, CNN or whatever, but they're still part of the family, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how, everything you do in the public eye, you're not going to like.
Right.
When you're the president, you're going to be talked about. You're going to be ridiculed. There are going to be jokes about you. You're going to have Saturday Night Live on you. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And either you take it with a grain of salt, or you be President Trump about it. So
that's a new adjective.
It's amazing how, to me, it's like it's insecurity. And how you can't, nobody likes to be criticized.
Of course, that's human nature.
But to be in the position you're in, there has to be more thick skin than that.
Yeah.
Especially with a briefing that wasn't even on TV.
Right.
It's just being reported. That's even more crazy to me. But, it'll come to a point where, on a live press conference, he'll throw people out.
Yeah.
Just like he did the Mexican reporter he tried to throw out before when, or whoever was reporting on the campaign. But anyway, it'll come down to that because it's somebody who's not going to ask the wrong question. And,
that's unfortunate.
That's your president.
Yeah. Politics is something that, I never... before I entered journalism school, I never really paid a whole lot of attention to, but I'm clear on this, that this government is not necessarily favorable to people of color, and so I just kind of live my life without worrying about it. And I don't mean to say that in a dismissive way, but I live my life knowing that this is not, this is not about me per se, if that makes sense. So... I think, and I've said it before in the show, local government is going to be more important to me and affect me more directly. Again, that does not mean you ignore state and national happenings, but I'm not going to be on Facebook yelling and screaming and arguing and cussing and acting a fool.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't want to seem out of touch. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. You stay informed, and be aware. Like I said, you do what you can do, and you move on. Yeah.
He wasn't my pick, but I wasn't going to jump out of the window.
Right. There's no reason to, like you said, move away.
Right.
Yet.
You think we should prepare to move?
Well, I don't know.
What are your thoughts?
I'm still waiting for him to piss off, North Korea or whoever got a bomb.
That's scary.
I'm waiting. And it's crazy. But
now
he's
that
going to
scary.
just like he did the media today. He's going to talk to a world leader like that. Come off in that kind of tone, and they don't have to take it.
No, they don't.
So
the press doesn't have to take it either. They, those who stay with the express point of reporting and then gathering that information to share with their colleagues. But like you said, Time and the Associated Press were like, no go. We're not. We're gonna, boycott. I don't know, Aja. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Isn't he aren't they going to allow Skype seats for smaller news organizations? That I do like.
Yeah. And so that works out. That gives them the accessibility. Because I know I can't necessarily get to D.C.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're already barred from.
Yeah, I'm barred generally.
So,
right.
Just being a black girl named Tasha.
Right. So I appreciate them opening it up possibly for smaller news organizations to do Skype seats. I don't know why they barred the news sources. I heard about this on Facebook. I get most of my news about the administration from Facebook and Saturday Night Live, unfortunately.
That's a good
I guess I'll
spin
get
on
an
it.
update. I'll get an update tomorrow night
Right.
on Saturday Night Live.
That's hilarious. I'm never up late enough to watch it, but apparently Mr. Trump doesn't miss